You are listening to Black Star 3, No Way Back, by Jesper Ersgård and Joakim Ersgård. Narrated by William Hope. Episode 1. The City in the Sky. Monty stared in dismay at the painting on the wall. The moment was serene and eternal, as if time had frozen, and her thoughts and emotions swirled around inside her. It felt as though she was the butt of a cruel joke that she couldn't understand. She suddenly felt angry and gritted her teeth. She stood in a large chamber whose floor was full of holes, out of which strange tones clearly emanated, the same notes looping in a never-ending sequence. Maybe they had been sounding for 1,000 years, and maybe they would continue to do so for thousands of years more. Monty couldn't take her eyes off the painting. It was huge and detailed, and it covered all the chamber walls. It appeared to tell a story. An unknown story about a massive alien war in which disfigured, deformed, and boil-covered creatures attacked gray-skinned soldiers. A bloody, desperate battle in an alien world. And in the middle of the painting there was a solitary human figure dressed in blue pants, purple boots, and a short silver-colored jacket. Monty. The figure was running, and it had the same long dark hair, the same pale complexion, and the same large eyes she did. It was more than just a resemblance. It was a photorealistic copy. But it couldn't be her. That was impossible. Monty shook her head in disbelief. It was beyond her comprehension, and she couldn't even begin to conceive of an explanation. The painting showed her running through a peculiar field of grain where every stalk bore clusters of what looked like snowflakes that seemed to free themselves and rise into the black night sky. High above her in space, a fierce battle was being fought. Spaceships engaged in violent clashes among mighty explosions, bursts of green and red flames as if the very atmosphere were on fire. It was a macabre fireworks display of exploding flying machines, their ruptured hulls spewing out bodies and sending them spinning helplessly into a blazing universe. She could almost hear the screams of the terrified, doomed victims in this vast painted battle. Large, cube-shaped troop carriers glided over the ground with open hatches, and inside them deformed creatures prepared to attack the gray-skinned soldiers fighting on the battlefield below. Small, silver-colored ships defended themselves against black flying crafts pouring out of an opening in the sky. "I've seen this before," thought Monty. She recognized the ships and the battling creatures from her time at the Black Mountain, but it wasn't those details that elicited a strange feeling of déjà vu in her. It was the things that she had not experienced that had this inexplicable familiarity. She had never worn clothes like that, but could nevertheless almost recall how the silver jacket felt against her body, how the purple shoes hugged her feet. She remembered the snowflake-like seeds that slowly ascended towards the sky as if fleeing the slightest touch. But how could she remember something she had never experienced? She closed her eyes in sheer desperation. The memory lay annoyingly hidden in the deep shadows of her consciousness. She bit her lip in frustration. Then it struck her. She had dreamt it. She had dreamt she was running through an identical field to the one in the painting, wearing identical clothes. The only difference was that in the dream she was being hunted by something profoundly evil, something that she could not identify in the otherwise intricately detailed painting. She opened her eyes and remembered how she had been held captive by the pilot Annika Horn and imprisoned in the cottage outside Idra in Dalarna. She'd had a nightmare that left her in a cold sweat and terror.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?